Okay, so this is the axle that we're replacing. You can see it looks good on that end. As you come down to this other end, it's got a bit of a problem. Lost the hub and ground the spindle down. So we're making a new one. So, sorry, as you look down here, this is 1.5" square stock. We've turned it down to this size where this collar is. That's 1.25". Let's see, right there. So 1 inch and 250 thousandths. This shaft is 1 inch long, and we're getting ready to turn that down now. So as you can see, I've got my 1.5" square stock turned down to 1.25". I'm going to lay out my location to end the collar, and then we'll turn the rest of this down to 1.5". Alright, so let's see, from the end, let's turn this around. So from that end, from this end to the edge of the collar is 4 1/8 inches. Alright, so I've got that marked. Let's turn the lathe way down. Alright. And I have to do it this way. Get my witness mark. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now we'll cut from here to right about there down to 1 inch. Let's check it down here. And in the middle. Okay. So from here to here, I've got about 3 thousandths difference. I'm at 12 thousandths oversize here, 14, 15 thousandths over here. I'm going to stop with this right now and flip the part over so I can do the skim coat on the other end because it's almost finished. It's within 10 thousandths, so I will flip the part over, cut the 10 thousandths off of that to get it to the correct size, and then I will thread that end. We'll flip it back over because that'll give this side time to cool, and with the heating and cooling, that could change 3 to 4 thousandths in size. So I don't want to do my final cut on it when it's hot. So we'll flip it over, work on the cool side, finish that, flip it again, and then this will be cooled enough. Okay, so we've got our part flipped. Let's see where we are. Alright. About 20, let's see, about 28 thousandths there. 22, yep. Alright, so I'm about 22 thousandths out. So we'll make a couple of quick passes, get this to 1 inch, and then we'll lay out get set to do our threading. We'll have to do about 3/4 inch of thread. It's going to be a 1 inch 14 thread per inch run. So we'll get that done, and by that time the other end will have cooled and we can flip it and do the same thing again. Alright, so I've got it cut down to the correct dimension, which is 1 inch. As you can see, I put a layout die on it. I've got my bit in the holder for cutting my threads, and as soon as that die dries enough, I can do a scratch coat to make sure my layout is correct for the threads, and then we'll start threading. Alright, so done my scratch coat. Thread gauge says it's correct. So now it's time to cut the real threads. Alright, so there's the first thread done. I'm trying to video this, but it takes 3 or 4 hands to run this machine and get the threading done, so I may not be able to video much more as far as the threading process, but I'll see what I can do. But first one's done, let's flip it over and do the next one. Alright, so we're threading out this last end, and have to be kind of careful. I go very, very slow with this. I'm still kind of new at threading, but I'm working to do the best I can with it. And we're doing some run out threads, which just means that as the machine gets to the end of the threads, I back it out and run it down, or run the cutter out, so that it ends up giving me a cleaner finish at the end of my threads instead of having to cut a groove, and which is another process. So, alright, so now, according to my threading chart, this is a 1 inch by 14 thread, and the threads have to go down 93 thousandths. So I cut in about 10 thousandths at a time until I get closer, and then we'll go in 2 or 3 thousandths at a time to make sure that we get a good cut on them. Again, this is something that I don't go fast at all on, because I've done all this work. I don't want to mess this up. Still kind of new at threading, especially with this machine. I don't have a machine at my shop that's big enough to do this shaft, and so I've brought it over to a shop that I apprentice at occasionally, and they're allowing me to use their machines to try to get this done. So yeah, it works out pretty good. I appreciate them letting me do this. So yeah, we're about halfway in. This is about 50 thousandths that's cut. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll bring you back and show you the final process. Alright, so next thing to do is to drill these holes for the spring pins to line up on. So we'll step drill those with probably a 1/4 inch bit, and then probably take them up from there. I believe the final size is, this is the final size, and it is 5/8. So we'll probably go 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and then 5/8. So let's get it in the drill press and go from there. Alright, as you can see, I've got the hole drilled. I need to deburr it and clean it up a little. But yeah, we got that done. Next step is going to be to locate the hole for the Carter key that will go through the castle nut. So we'll measure that out, locate it, put it in the drill press, and drill that. Alright, so I've got the holes drilled for the Carter key. Probably should have been just a hair further back, but the castle nut that I got to go on this is wider than what I think was originally on it, and so in order to get the threads seated correctly, that's where the hole ended up being. Should be okay. So last thing is this flange here. The owner couldn't tell me what this hooked up to, and wasn't even sure if it was a necessity. I believe it's to hold a fender on, but I'm not 100% sure. So we're going to cut these off. It's just held on with some weld right in here. We're going to cut that and relocate it. You can see I've already marked it for the location back on here. I measured from here to the face, and then from here to where the face would be. So let me cut these off, and then we'll clean them up and see about tack welding them onto this. Alright, y'all, well, there's the finished product, or at least almost finished. Put a coat of primer on it. I'll finish up with putting a coat or two of gloss black on it to make it look nice and pretty before it goes under the trailer. I've taped off the ends so that the machine surfaces don't get gummed up with paint, and neither do the threads. And yeah, so get it to the gentleman, and that'll be another job in the books. So there they are, the old one and the new one. It's the old one. You can see where we took the tabs off of it, mated them to the new one. There's the new axle. I don't think it turned out that bad, if I do say so myself. Alright, y'all, so another job in the books. Really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. Got to do some stuff that I'm not used to doing. Working on pieces that are actually too big for the equipment in my shop lengthwise. Learned some new valuable lessons, and was able to work with some friends and some mentors and invade their shop to be able to get the shaft done, or the axle done. The lathe at my shop only has an 1.5 inch diameter through hole, meaning the hole in the spindle that allows long pieces of work to go all the way through it. With this being a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square stock, the through hole wasn't big enough to allow the piece to go all the way through. So I had to find a different way to turn the spindles down on the axle, and my lathe was not long enough to handle a 5.5 foot piece of steel. So yeah, so ended up finishing it off at somebody else's shop, but was able to go in and do the work there. So that was a good workaround. If you can't, get the work done in your shop, network out, see if somebody will come allow you to invade their shop for a little while and get the work done. So I have purchased another lathe that I'm hoping to go get in the next couple of weeks that will allow me to do the longer work. So we'll see how that goes. But really enjoyed this job. Hope the customer's happy with it. We'll find out in the next day or two when I turn it over to him. But hey, I want to thank y'all for coming along with this. Really enjoyed this job. Really enjoy showing y'all what I'm doing and what we're learning, and what we're able to do creatively. So I'm glad to share that. Thank y'all for the subscribers who have been with me. We had a bump in subscribers the last week or so, and I really appreciate that. If you would, hit the like button, the thumbs up, and spread the word. Let people know about the channel. I appreciate you, and we'll see what the next day or two has for us. But God bless y'all. Hope you're having another great day in paradise. Talk to you soon.